My daughter said, "From today, you will start paying us for the utilities and groceries you're using." Her husband nodded in agreement. I just smiled. She didn't know the farm was actually in a trust that protected everything. I'm glad you're here with me. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end. And let me know which city you're listening from. That way, I can see how far my story has traveled. My life had been steady and simple for the last 4 years. Ever since my wife Eleanor passed away from a long battle with cancer, I lived on our family farm, a 50-acre spread in rural Texas that we de-inherited from her parents, and worked together for over 40 years. The land was fertile, with rolling fields of corn and wheat that we leased to neighboring farmers for a steady income, plus a small herd of cattle that kept me busy. The deed was clear, the mortgage long paid off, and it provided enough from crop shares, cattle sales, and my modest pension to keep me comfortable without extravagance. I spent my days fixing fences, tending to the animals, maintaining the old red barn that Eleanor had loved painting every spring, and chatting on the phone with my son David, who lived in Florida with his wife and 2 young kids. We'd video call on Sundays, and I'd watch my grandkids play in their backyard, wishing they were closer. My daughter Lisa had always been the ambitious one, smart, driven, with a fire in her eyes that reminded me of Eleanor in her younger days, but twisted with a sense of entitlement that worried me even as a child. While David was laid back, content with his construction job and simple life, Lisa craved success, status, and the finer things. After business school, she married Tom, a slick real estate agent with a flashy watch, perfectly gelled hair, and a habit of name-dropping his big deals in every conversation. They'd hit hard times during the pandemic, losing their upscale condo to foreclosure after Tom's risky investments tanked, and I'd bailed them out with loans more than once, $5,000 here, $10,000 there, always with promises of repayment that never fully materialized. 2 years ago, when their latest luxury rental fell through due to unpaid bills, I'd offered them the guest cottage on the property, a cozy 2-bedroom place Eleanor had fixed up for visitors. "Just until you stabilize," I'd said, hoping it would be temporary. That was 22 months ago. At first, it was almost nice, like having family around to fill the quiet voids left by Eleanor's absence. Tom helped with heavy repairs around the farm, like patching the roof on the barn after a storm, and Lisa planted a vibrant flower garden near the cottage, something Eleanor would have adored. We'd share barbecues on Sundays under the ancient oak trees, grilling ribs and laughing over old family stories. I'd tell tales of how Eleanor and I met at a county fair, and Lisa would smile, saying it reminded her of her own dreams. But slowly, the cracks appeared, subtle at first, like weeds sneaking into the soil. Tom started suggesting I sell off parcels of land to capitalize on the market boom, pointing out how prime acreage like this could fetch millions. Lisa rearranged my tool shed without asking, tossing out junk that was actually heirloom tools from my father, and complained about my old-fashioned ways, like using the wood stove instead of the central heat I'd installed years ago to save on bills. She'd make snide remarks about how I was wasting resources by running the well pump too long for the cattle troughs. I brushed it off. They were under pressure. Job hunting was tough in a post-pandemic economy, I told myself. But deep down, I felt the shift, like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. Then came the supper that flipped everything upside down. It was a warm October evening, the kind where the Texas sun sets in a blaze of orange, and the crickets start their symphony early. I'd grilled steaks, Lisa's favorite from when she was a girl, marinated just like Eleanor taught me, with baked potatoes and fresh corn from the fields. We sat at the weathered picnic table under the oaks, the same spot where Eleanor and I had raised our family, celebrated birthdays, and weathered arguments. The air smelled of mesquite smoke and earth. Lisa cleared her throat dramatically, the way she did when she had a sales pitch ready from her business days. "Dad, we need to discuss the arrangement here." I wiped my mouth with a napkin, sensing the tension. "Sure, honey, you two found a new place. I saw some rentals in town that looked decent." Tom chuckled, low and condescending, like I was a child who didn't understand the real world. "A new place. Henry, we've been thinking bigger. This farm is massive for one man your age. It's inefficient 50 acres, and you're barely using half." "I'd managed it fine for decades," I replied evenly, keeping my voice steady despite the rising irritation. "Eleanor and I built this place from nothing. It's home." Lisa leaned in, her eyes sharp. "The point is, Dad, with land values skyrocketing, Tom checked the comps, It doesn't make sense for us to rent elsewhere when there's all this space going to waste. We've been pitching in with chores and bills, but it's time to make it official. My gut twisted like a knotted rope. Official. What do you mean? Starting next month, Tom said, pulling out a spreadsheet on his phone with columns of numbers that looked rehearsed. You'll contribute to the household, utilities, groceries, maintenance fair share. We VA crunched the numbers. $1,200 a month seems reasonable for your portion of the property. We can even deduct it from what we owe you on those loans. The absurdity hit me like a buckshot scatter. Pay to live on my own farm, the land my sweat and Eleanor's dreams had nurtured. Tom, this is my land. Eleanor and I poured our lives into it. My name's on the deed. Lisa interrupted smoothly, her MBA training kicking in. We've researched it, Dad, in Texas. When family steps in to manage an elderly parent's property, there are legal precedents for compensation. We're not being greedy, just practical. Think of it as us taking over the burdens. Tom nodded, his smile too wide. You're getting on, Henry. That fall you had last spring, twisting your ankle in the pasture. What if it happens again, or worse? Lisa's your only child nearby. It'd be easier if we formalized ownership. Sign the deed over to us, and we'll handle everything. Taxes, upkeep, even expand the operations. You'd live here worry-free, like a retirement. I looked at Lisa, my little girl who'd once ridden ponies in these fields, waiting for her to laugh it off, to say it was a bad joke. Instead, she squeezed my hand patronizingly. Think it over, Dad. No rush. But payments start November 1st. I smiled then, a quiet, knowing smile, because the pieces clicked into place like a well-oiled gate latch. They had no clue about the trust Eleanor had set up years ago. Her careful planning, as a former paralegal who'd seen too many families torn apart by greed. They saw me as a doddering old farmer, easy to push around with spreadsheets and threats veiled as concern. They were dead wrong. That night, I stared at the ceiling in my bedroom, the one Eleanor and I had shared for 45 years, listening to the wind rustle the cottonwoods outside. The loneliness hit hard, not just her absence, but the raw betrayal from my own blood. David was far away in Florida, busy with his construction business and family. Would he believe me if I spilled it all over the phone, or think I was getting senile, exaggerating like old folks do? Friends from church or the feed store, would they side with me, or whisper behind my back that kids these days have it tough, and Henry's got more land than he needs? The fear gnawed deep, like a coyote at the fence. What if they won through some legal loophole or manipulation? My pension covered basics, feed, fuel, meds, but $1,200 would gut it, leaving me scraping by. I'd be at their mercy, forced to sign over the farm just to eat or fix the truck. Was that the end game? Break me financially, then swoop in as saviors. At midnight, unable to sleep, I shuffled to Eleanor's old office, now a storage room cluttered with boxes since Lisa and Tom moved in and borrowed space. In the fireproof safe behind old photo albums of family vacations and kids' school pictures was the thick folder labeled Trust and Estate in Eleanor's neat handwriting. She'd insisted on a revocable living trust when we refinanced the farm a decade back. If I'm gone first, she'd said, her voice firm, despite the chemo fatigue, I don't want probate tying you up or vultures circling. And I want protections for you, Henry. You're too trusting. The documents confirmed it. The farmhouse, cottage, everything was in the Eleanor and Henry Brooks family trust, with me as sole trustee after her death. Lisa and David were equal beneficiaries post my passing, but I held full control now. No claims, no interests allowed during my lifetime. And there, in bold print, a no contest clause, any beneficiary attempting undue influence, coercion, or challenges would be disinherited automatically, their share redirected to charity or the other sibling. Eleanor had foreseen greedy hearts, perhaps sensing Lisa's tendencies even then. Had Lisa ever read this? We'd discussed inheritance vaguely over holiday dinners, but she must have assumed a simple will, something contestable in court with a slick lawyer. Clarity washed over me like a cool rain after drought. I wasn't defenseless. I had the law on my side, ironclad. But confrontation now. They'd deny, retreat, play nice, then strike subtler, maybe accidentally damage equipment or spread rumors about my health. No, I'd let them overplay their hand, gather irrefutable proof, then crush it when they least expect it. The plan formed in my mind like a crop rotation strategy. Document every word, every demand, every subtle jab, update everything with our lawyer quietly. Rally Alice's friends, family who could witness without tipping my hand. Play along, act the confused old man, let them get cocky and careless. First light broke over the fields as I tucked the folder away, my resolve hardening like sun-baked clay. I called Barnes' law firm that morning, where Eleanor had worked connections through her paralegal days, keeping my voice low in the barn, away from prying ears. I said, "This is Henry Brooks. Need to see Ms. Barnes about my trust agent regarding potential coercion from family." The receptionist noted the gravity. "She has an opening tomorrow at 9 a.m. Perfect. I started a leather-bound journal I'd bought at the feed store, hidden in my truck. Dates, times, exact quotes from that supper. Every detail etched in my careful script. Lisa noticed my errands that morning as I grabbed my keys. "Where to, Dad? Need anything from town?" Her tone was casual, but her eyes watched too closely. Feed store for salt blocks, then a doc checkup. Lies came easier than I expected, a necessary shield. Tom eyed me suspiciously from the cottage porch. "Need company? I could drive." "Nah, I'm good old habits." I drove off, heart pounding but steady. Miss Barnes, sharp as a tack at 55 with glasses perched on her nose, listened stone-faced in her wood-paneled office as I laid it out factually, no tears, just the cold truth. "Mr. Brooks, this smells like textbook elder financial exploitation. Demands for payment on your own property. Pressure to deed it over, classic tactics. The trust holds up. Ironclad. They have zero claim, but paper's only as good as enforcement. If they push for incompetence, guardianship." She trailed off, outlining risks. My blood chilled. Could they really declare me unfit? They could try. Build a case with incidents like your fall. We counter now. Steps. Full documentation. A physician eval for cognitive competency. A cease and desist letter, reminding them of the trust. And Henry, if it escalates threats, theft, call me and the sheriff immediately. Home by noon. I found them in my kitchen, rifling through mail on the counter. "Dad, your bank stubs in the trash we were cleaning up. You're blowing cash on that old truck repair last month. We can help budget better." Rage boiled like a summer storm, but I noted it in the journal later. Invasion of privacy, financial snooping. "That's private," I said mildly. Tom waved it off. "We're family, Henry. Just looking out." The cease and desist letter arrived, certified 3 days later. Tom's face paled as he signed for it at the mailbox, Lisa snatching it open on the spot. From the house window, I watched her face contort. "This is bullshit. She's cutting us out of what's rightfully ours." Their voices carried. "We'll fight this, get our own lawyer." I documented the yells, word for word. Called David that evening. "Son, no drama, just facts." Lisa's pushing hard for control. Shock turned to fury. "What the hell? I'm booking a flight, Dad. Be there Friday." Next, church friend Bill, a retired sheriff with a no-nonsense mustache, agreed to drop by often for coffee as a witness. "Heard rumors something's off. Henry, I'll keep eyes open." Doc evil. 2 days later, full checkup, memory tests, puzzles, fit as a fiddle. "Henry, sound mind and body. Here's the sealed letter for your lawyer." Tensions simmered, then boiled over. They cornered me post-supper one night in the living room, the TV muted on a football game. "This lawyer's poisoning you, Dad," Tom barked, red-faced. "We're family trying to help. Family doesn't bill me for breathing my own air." Lisa's voice rose. "You're paranoid. Forgetting things, like where you left the keys last week. We'll seek conservatorship. You're slipping, and we can't watch you hurt yourself." The threat hung like smoke. I noted it. Explicit coercion. David arrived Friday, tall and strong like me, in my prime, hugging me tight. "We'll sort this, Dad." Bill witnessed a rant from Tom that afternoon. "This land's wasted on an old man." Over the next days, we built my case, more journal entries, even discreet audio recordings on my phone, legal in Texas. The shift to kindness came a week later. A surprise breakfast in the cottage, pancakes, bacon, coffee. "Apology, Dad," Lisa said, eyes teary but calculated. "We were stressed. Jobs, debts. Forgive us, Tom. Forget the payments. Let's stay. Pay you rent instead. Win-win." I ate slowly. "Appreciate it, but time's up. 60 days to vacate. Legal notice." Lisa's mask cracked. "You're a stubborn old fool, hoarding this land while we struggle. What if you fall again? You'll need us then." That night, after more insults, I opened the door. Out, essentials only. Police for the rest. They stormed off, Threats trailing. Called David Ms. Barnes. Bell all looped in. Lawsuit hit 2 weeks later. Challenged the trust. Claim Eleanor's undue influence. My incompetence. We countered with my evidence stack. Journals, recordings, texts, Lisa's venomous ones to Tom. Forwarded by a mutual friend. Doc evals, witness statements. Court date, gray November morning. Judge, a veteran with a gravel voice, shredded their case. No evidence. Trust valid, dismissed. You're lucky no elder abuse charges. Hallway aftermath. Lisa raged at Tom. He approached me, defeated. Dad, sorry, I messed up bad. Someday maybe. Not today. Divorce followed. Tom bolted with shared debts, leaving Lisa broke. She crashed hard, fired for creative accounting at work, padded expenses exposed, blacklisted in real estate circles, back with her folks in shame, working retail. Me. The farm bloomed anew. David visited often with the grandkids, their laughter echoing in the fields. Joined a tractor club, gave advocacy talks at senior centers on elder rights, updated the trust. Lisa's share conditional on therapy. No contact with Tom. Proven change. Cards from her. Sorry Dad. Missy door cracked open, healing slow. I learned the hard way. Family bonds can break under greed's weight. Protect yourself. It's not betrayal, it's wisdom. Document. Seek pros. Build support. What would you do? Share below. Thanks for listening. You're stronger than you think.